Yeah, so of course, this podcast is dedicated to the sense of sight, but in addition to being multidisciplinary, this medium is also multi-sensory. So I know immersive theater stimulates all five senses. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk about how you as a practitioner use not just sight, but sound, touch, taste, and even smell. Um, Before we dive deeper into the knowledge of the sense of sight.
Yeah. And I think what that points to actually is that oftentimes audiences will describe a moment in a work of performance that was really memorable, and they'll describe what they saw. But oftentimes what makes it memorable is that it was paired with very strong sound design and sometimes other senses as well. And that's a really important thing for, I think, for us that work in visual mediums to remember, is that often the secret sauce is in the sound, it's in these other senses. And one of the things I love about immersive performance, immersive theater, is that you can really engage the other senses like smell and taste and touch in ways that are hard to do with traditional mediums. And I think that on a basic level is because immersive performance can be really intimate. The audience is not at a distance from the event. They're not, again, separated by a screen. They're not separated in time, and they're not separated physically. And so we can interact with an audience, and the audience can interact with the world of the experience in ways that allow for touch, taste, and smell. I'll give an example actually of a VR experience that I did that I think executes this really, really well. So it was a piece called Cosmos Within Us by Tupac Matir that I experienced at the Venice International Film Festival when I was there with a project called Love Seat by Double I Studios. And in Cosmos Within Us, it's for one audience member. You're inside a VR headset, and what you're seeing is all pre-recorded visuals, but what you're hearing is a live narrative performance, and then there are live haptics happening around you. The scenario is that you're in the mind of an older man with dementia who's trying to hold on to his memories. And to give an example of one scene in particular that puts together a lot of different senses in a way that created so much magic and delight, he's remembering being a small boy, and he has a sibling that's just been born, and his parents aren't paying attention to him. And he's remembering the scene in a kitchen with his grandmother. And so visually, you're seeing kind of an animated version of grandmother, and she's telling you about, yeah, I know it's hard. No, it's really hard right now. Why don't you go ahead and just have a seat? And she points to a chair, and you visually see a chair. When I reached out my hands physically in space, there was a real physical chair there where the virtual chair would be. And so I can actually sit down in the physical chair that, again, matched where I could see the virtual chair. And then grandmother held out a tray of cookies that I could see in the VR space, this digital representation of cookies. And when I reached out my hand to try to grab one, there was actually a real tray and real cookies that I could touch. And then I could, of course, put that real cookie in my mouth and have the taste of cookies while I'm seeing them, while I'm hearing grandmother tell me that everything's going to be okay. And so, that's an example, I think, of how the combination of spatial digital storytelling and physical storytelling, using a lot of elements of live performance, can be incredibly powerful for an audience.